Do parents have a duty to help their kids buy a home? 0207 862 2222. That's the number. Give us a ring. It's been reported that David and Victoria Beckham have been accused of being stingy because they didn't contribute financially to their eldest son Brooklyn's first home with his wife Nicola. Apparently, they believe that spoiling their kids by handing them everything on a silver platter would send the wrong message. It's believed Nicola used her family money to buy the dream mansion. We want to know if you agree that mums and dads shouldn't support their kids financially, or do you think with property prices so high, they've got no choice? Love to know what you think about this. Radzi, are you waiting for that handout? Is it going to come? Do you expect to do the same for your kids if you have them?
Well, you know what? I didn't get a handout. What I did get is a handout of unconditional love, which is what's resulted in any success that I have had. But what I would say is one of the most, I think, unspoken elements of being a millennial and afterwards is how few people admit that they've had help from mum and dad to put a deposit down on their house. Hasn't been paid off, but that's what gets their foot on the ladder. It is so difficult now to have any chance of doing that unless you have a parent who has a massive asset that they can either sell and pass on to you or has spare cash. Life is really hard. So for me, seeing what the Beckhams have done, I mean, they are the anomaly. That's the inception of this story and this discussion. But actually, I don't think most people can afford a house without help from mum and dad.
Well, and to be honest, the vast majority of people don't have the kind of help that's going to make the difference. They don't have that money in their account. It's tied up in their own property, really, for a lot of people.
Look, I've got two wonderful boys, very blessed.
Did you help them?
And I have helped one of them. The other one is in Australia. But I will try and help him. Look, they're my babies. They may be in their 20s, but they're always going to be my sons. And I don't think just because I get to the age of 18, I say, right, on your way, I won't help you. And it's very, very tough for the younger generation now to get on the property ladder. And I offered my help. I work hard, as the Daily Mail have written, desperate out there working. But, I wanted to help my son get a home, and I think as a parent, you want to help them get on in life. I didn't want him to work every hour trying to get this deposit together. And if I could help as a parent, I think you should do. And I am quite surprised that the Beckhams didn't want to help Brooklyn.
How about this? Is this one of the factors that's driving prices beyond affordability? House prices are going up all the time. It's very, very hard for young people to get on that housing ladder because it's such a huge multiple of what they earn. So the only way you can do it is when your parents help out. And then guess what? Next year, it's even more expensive for those people. So the separation between those people who will always rent and those people who have a chance of buying, this could be the difference. This could be what's pushing prices higher and higher every year.
Possibly a contributing factor, but I think the fundamental is that post-Thatcher, successive governments have not built new houses for people, and so thus there's an over-demand for a very small supply, which is continuing to exacerbate the issue. In London, if we look at the economy and how things have changed, there's an explanation there. But the bottom line is, first of all, if I had the surname Beckham, I'd be sweet as a nut in life anyway.
Yeah,
so I wouldn't need that to
That's
help.
the advantage,
We're going to talk about Brooklyn Beckham. I think he's had a lot of advantages and opportunities in life that many others haven't had.
Stingy, that's what they call it. Anyway, don't go anywhere. I want to hear from you. Let's get straight onto your calls on whether parents have a duty to help their kids buy a house. I want to get your calls in now. But first, I want to hear from Tony Hawks. Now, Tony, you may know, is a comedian who's written some fantastic books. You've seen him on Whose Line Is It Anyway as well. He's taken a fridge around Ireland. He's played tennis with Moldovans. But Tony's latest project is called Tony Hawks Isn't Giving Anything Away. And he's on the line right now. Tony, this is the subject we're talking about what you leave to your kids and what is the benefit of doing that to you and to the world at large. Is that right?
That's it. I made a programme for Radio 4 about what I should do. I've got one son and I'm an old father, 65. He's 11 now. So I'm conscious that all the spoils of my books and all this sort of stuff that I've earned in my life would go to a relatively young man. And I thought that was too much to give to one person. Property and all of this. So what I thought about, and I consulted a lot of people, thought about what I decided to do was leave him a job. Now, quite complicated, but I have to set up a trust and a charity and all of this, and he will have a job. He'll inherit my estate, but he can't have it. He can have a wage that's set by trustees and a kind of probably just a median wage or whatever.
Yeah.
And then his life, if he chooses to do it, he may choose to do something else. He would be, being kind to people and helping other people in our society rather than becoming a millionaire aged 30.
So you will give him a job which pays him that wage, which he'll be taxed on as well.
Yeah.
I mean, it seems like a lot of our focus these days is making sure that when our kids inherit, the large majority of it doesn't go to the tax man through inheritance. But you're quite comfortable with that.
Well, look, everything needs paying for. I mean, if you listen to the news, you do say that, we want to have education, we want to have health, we want to have road, we want to have all this stuff, but nobody wants to pay for it. So essentially, we do have to pay some tax, and we should. But what I think with this is I am actually choosing. I'm not leaving it all to him, and it won't. We will be avoiding a certain amount of inheritance tax by doing it this way, because it'll be going to charity. But what I'm trying to avoid is this situation where we've got a kind of caste system in the UK, where some people inherit huge amounts and other people don't inherit anything at all, and it just doesn't seem fair. Because let's face it, when you inherit something, you haven't done anything for it, except perhaps being a bit of a pain in the arse when you were a teenager.
OK, so what you're not giving your son at that moment is a big deposit for a house. And so much of our life is affected by where we live. And having a safe platform, a steady platform of a place that you're not renting, is going to be there in 6 months, a year's time. You're not giving that to your son, which could affect his life, hugely beneficially.
It could, but equally, if he was the son of somebody that didn't have anything, he wouldn't have that either, would he? So this is what we fail to do is we create. I just believe in equal opportunity. Call me crazy, but I believe in it. So he will be able to. He won't starve to death. He will be able to rent somewhere because he'll have an income, and he'll be working for it. Now, on the continent, people rent all their lives. We're obsessed in the UK with home ownership and properties going up. Properties don't go up in other countries like they do here. So I bought a house for £175,000 in Wimbledon about 25, 30 years ago and sold it for over $1 million. And I didn't do anything for that except live in that house. Right. And now young people cannot buy things. And so what we really need is massive reform around this so we can bring house prices down to a sensible price so that if you've got a job and a wage, you can buy a house and you don't have to rely on the bank of mum and dad. And you feel like that inherited wealth is driving prices up. It's part of the process that means that for doing nothing, your house is worth more this year than it was last. Well, it's just market forces, isn't it? If there are people with the money, they buy it. If there's people without the money, they don't. So we just need to create, less money out there. Okay. So that we, but it's like renting is not the end of the world. It's not like you're going. The other thing about this is I think what we do as parents is we worry too much about what's going to create the happiness for the lives of our children that we want. And what I'm pretty convinced about is what creates a happy life is what's going on in your head. Are you creating happy thoughts or miserable thoughts? And if you're hard up and you're really poor, the chances are it'll be miserable. But being rich and having property is by no means a guarantee of having a happy life. Not at all. It's not a guarantee of it. I think it's a very principled thing that you're doing, Tony. Let me know how that works out when your son reaches 20 and maybe has got that perspective. I think that there's definitely a chapter 2 here. But it's a fascinating take on it, don't you think, guys? I'm genuinely blown away at that.
I am blown away.
It's one thing talking about it when you've got the resource, but actually doing it...
I'd like to know what his son's going to think of this.
Yeah, totally. Well, listen, thank you so much, Tony, and thanks for sharing a very different way of doing things. Thanks for all your calls.